sparkle and shine. Oh, mhm. Mm. That's beautiful. Is that
It
like a
is.
courtship ritual?
They are swans.
Swans.
That was a swan.
Intriguing. I wish I had known that beforehand because now I can see it in the graceful, poised movement.
Yeah, those were
Yeah.
swans. And specifically, what I would say is that um, the control of the breath is something that
Yeah.
uh, I would draw attention to. Is that they are not supposed to be breathing, right?
Mhm.
So, one of the things you may have noticed is that they're supposed to have a languid look on her face that she was just in like a trance.
Yes.
Also, the positioning of her shoulder
Mhm.
And the other thing you may have noticed was that she did not breathe. Like there
Yeah,
should be no apparent breathing.
you're right. They
You
were
know,
very grounded, very centered
yeah. So
the whole
it's
time,
really,
and in synchronicity with each other.
and that is our next vacation, by the way.
It's our next. We're
See how
still recovering.
I just dump these things on him. I just dump them, and then you have to cope with what I dump on you.
Well, I am enjoying the dump. I'm enjoying the ride, Whimsy,
So you and
because
I
it's a great
will
adventure.
Right. So you and I will be in Georgia in October. And that is just if you'd like to find out more about the traditional dancing, you can find it out with that
Really?
video that we just did. But
And
that's a swan courtship. That's a school.
well, I can think of immediately Cardiff, Wales, when we saw the swans in the
Uh-huh.
water, but also that fabulous Georgian restaurant, which, yes,
Is this what you might be talking about?
that's exactly what I'm talking about, Whimsy.
Right. And for those people who were not able to join us on our vacation, we want you to know that you were with us in spirit.
Very much
You
so.
were with us in spirit. And of course, this is the traditional Georgian food. I think I've had many reincarnations in Georgia.
Yeah.
And as many of you know, I don't drink alcohol. I discovered through 23andMe genetics
Hmm.
that I am a new mutation in my family of origin.
Yes.
And I have a mutation in the alcohol dehydrogenase
Yeah.
enzyme. So I do not digest the alcohol. One of those mutations is defective, similar to somebody from like Asia, right? Some Japanese people have
Yeah,
this.
we have a mutual friend who of Asian descent who cannot have alcohol. He said he turns beet red
Yes, that's what
whenever he drinks
happens.
alcohol.
If you don't have the enzyme, you are not able to consume alcohol. And so I am the only one in my family that has this. And they contacted me and said, we discovered that you have this mutation.
Yeah.
And we're not, and nobody else who's contributed from your family and from, your aunts. This is a new mutation. I'm like, oh, that's why everybody else is having wine at parties. I would just get sick. But let's take a little bit, 1 minute. Welcome, have a seat. Today, Chuck and I are going to be answering all your questions about how you can heal your life. And then the second half of today, Chuck and I will be answering your personal questions and offering you a free tarot card reading. That is the new setup for the show, is to try and help empower you to live your best life. Chuck and I live great lives. We are not wealthy by any stretch of
No, we are not.
imagination. We live frugally. We both have rent-controlled studios. But we made a commitment. I think this has just been something that's been brewing with us for about a year and a half now, that we were going to dedicate our lives to more travel. We have a little bit of a cat crisis happening.
Oh, poor Sasha. You remote viewed my cat. Do you
I
want to
did
tell people what
indeed.
you
I
picked
did
up on?
indeed.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was pretty sad.
Yeah. So you have a beautiful cat, Sasha. I don't know if
Beautiful little
Sasha's
Siamese.
around. If you want to show Sasha,
I'd have to go get her, but I could.
well,
She's sleeping right now.
it was the first time you had been away from your cat.
Never for a length of time like that. I had left her once for 4 days. And she
Right.
didn't handle that very well. So I really worried about 2 weeks. And you even told me in advance you figured it was going to be traumatic for her. You know, my dear friend Anastasia came over to the apartment every day, and I was hoping that was going to make a difference because she loves Anastasia so much. But no, it was me. She missed me very much. In fact, she was indeed traumatized.
Yeah. So what Sasha said to me when I remote viewed her is, she said, I have racked my kitty brain over and over and over again. And I cannot for the life of me figure out why he left me.
Oh,
Whatever it is that I did, I am sorry. Please come back.
oh.
So, and then she became despondent, like he's never coming back. I've clearly driven him away. I don't know what I have done, but I am so sorry. It was horrible. I'm like, God,
Yeah.
we got to get back to your cat.
Well, it was about 3 days before we returned. Anastasia said, Sasha's just given up. Just given up. It's like she's lost all hope. And
Oh my
I
God.
feel terrible. And you advised me to make videos
Mhm.
that she could play, Anastasia could play on the phone for her. And she said whenever Sasha would hear my voice, she would immediately calm down and she would perk up again. And then when I got home, I sent you a photograph where I swear it looked like Sasha had tears in her eyes.
Yeah. Talk about that a little bit.
Well,
Talk
it's just,
about like the whole, did you feel like her personality had changed as a result, or did you feel that it was a temporary thing? Because what I saw was like, you know, she really, you know what it made me think when I went into the energy of your cat? It made me think that cats are like people in the sense that they really believe,
oh, there's the picture.
they really believe I have done this. I have caused my divorce with my father.
Oh,
The divorce is my fault, right? So it was
oh,
that kind of of energy.
yeah. That's the
And
picture I took as soon as I got home. And I sent that to you. And I swear,
yeah,
it looked like Sasha was crying, but she's adjusted. She's calmed down quite a bit. And she seems to be accepting that I'm home now and I'm not going anywhere for quite a while. But she clung to me quite a bit for the first few days.
well, the other thing is her nose okay? It looks like she had a bit of something going on, like a dry nose or something like that. Or is that just?
I think that's just the lighting in the picture there.
But look at her. She looks like her life was over.
Yeah.
Like she was really on death's door. I don't want to live anymore. I just can't go on. And then you finally came back to her. And I think we sometimes underestimate just how much
how intelligent
and
emotional
their emotions are just as real as our emotions,
very
just
much so.
as valid as our emotions.
Extremely.
And is she okay now? Is she okay?
Oh, she's doing much better now. She's still here in the room with me. She's on the other side sleeping. That's why I didn't want to wake her up. But she's doing much better. In fact, she started readjusting very quickly as soon as I got home. It's like she was just so relieved. But I'm sorry it put her through so much trauma while I was away.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know what to do about that.
I felt so bad for her.
In the future.
I felt so bad for her.
Anastasia was even giving her rescue remedy, homeopathic medicines.
Thank God. That definitely helps.
That helped a bit. But it was definitely traumatic.
Yeah. All right. So we have an announcement to make. We were going to do the interview today for Door in the Sky, but I'm sorry, we're going to have to delay it till next week. I know many of you finished the book last month. We have had so many delays. I had 2 or 3 people email me about this. My apologies. I'm going to try and see if we can get Carolina in here. I actually emailed her and said that today would be the interview day. I'm going to have to write her and apologize. I just got bogged down with a bunch of other stuff, and I was not able to get to that. And I'm also
we've been away for 2 weeks and you come back.
Yeah, I had a upper respiratory infection. We had a great time, but I did catch a bug. I think it was at Buckingham Palace.
We've theorized that. Yes. Well, it was extremely windy. Britain is known for its erratic weather anyway. It can be cold and be damp, and then it can be warm, and then it can be raining. But I think the pollen count was unusually high that day. I think they said something on the BBC that morning about it in the news.
Yeah, I do think something like that happened because I was not in a good place when that happened. I wasn't in a good place, and I was really looking forward to being able to go to Italy with you. Chuck and I, it was the first time we had gone together, which I thought was really great, on a major trip. And it's one of my favorite places to visit. I'll tell you something honestly about Rome. It is probably a place you can be lost forever in Rome.
Well,
Every
that's what I found.
every street has history. Every place you go has history. Every place has a story
Yeah.
to tell.
You,
But
you've got
please
history,
go ahead.
art, culture going back 2,000 years. And that's what I found. I would just go on long walks and just get lost. Well, when I say lost, I could have taken a cab and gone back to the hotel at any time, but I would just lose myself in the alleys and the streets and just let the city tell me where it wanted me to go. Did you have that experience, Whimsy?
Yes. Well,
Like
I
the
was
city
sick
has
as a
such
dog. I was
strong
sick as a
pull.
dog, and I was extremely angry. And I apologize, Chuck. I wanted to be there very much, and I was very jealous.
I
And so
wanted you with me.
I started taking it out on Chuck. Well, yeah, I'm glad you're having a good time. And then I had to apologize
Oh,
because it wasn't your fault. I love Rome. I was just real sick. But this
I
is
worried
just,
about you.
oh, thank
And I
you.
would have stayed and taken care of you. I meant that.
Yeah, this is us
Yeah.
in Buckingham Palace.
Yes. Yes. I don't hear the sound. Can you?
Well, we'll be sure. I don't want to show all of it because it goes
Yeah,
on, but we will try and make it. Could you hear that okay?
I couldn't hear it too well. Could
Oh,
you?
you couldn't hear it? Yeah, I could hear it fine.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, Heidi Christensen just said no sound at all.
Yeah, I saw
So
your reaction, so I thought maybe you guys are not able to hear it, but we'll be sure and do
yeah,
that a little bit
it's a
later.
good clip. Let's play it
All
properly.
right, so let's go ahead. We'll turn the camera around. I do want to mention that you've got one more week to read Door in the Sky by Carolina Montague, and I hope she'll be in our studios next Taco Tuesday.
Mhm.
It is an historical fiction based on reality of the witch burnings during the
Mhm.
Middle Ages, when all the female intellectuals, doctors, basically women that were, it's not much different than
Mhm.
what's happening today,
Yeah.
were burned. And so that is our book of the month. And we look forward to having her in our studio next week. You've got one more week to read it. Chuck, let's
You're
go ahead
reminding
and
me.
yeah,
You're
let's.
reminding me of something Betty Davis once said. She said, "I would have been burned as a witch for sure."
Oh
And she came back
dear.
then. Yeah. Anyway, let me go back up here. We have Cynthia Warner, 9443. Uh, Clinda, 1994. Our fabulous Brenda Rakestraw. Um, let's see. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Emdurst. Did I say that right? Nancy Potter Johnson. Oh, Tawny, our friend Tawny Acosta is here. So happy you joined us, Tawny. Christy Beverly, 9345. Annie Hamlet, 8761. At Irish Girl. Tarot by Sharona. Never Too Late to Dream. Let's see. Elaine Patino, 3683. Rebecca Alley, 135. This is where I wish I had phonetic pronunciations here. So forgive me if I'm not getting this right. Tennis is Shufanga, 1513. The Talma Kadu, did I say that right? 8926. Sharon Kowalski,
Hi, Sharon.
We got lots of good friends here.
Well, we'll keep saying hi as we go along. And
sure.
I saw that Tawny is here. I'd love to be able to do a full interview with
Oh,
her.
I would too.
And I think that she has a lot to contribute because there's a lot of people with some very strange ideas going around about a lot of things. And I think that we could use educated people like Tawny to maybe help the world. She has been called, of course, to be of service, as have we all, to
She's
help
a light
heal.
worker.
To help heal the wounded, but Tawny has also to be a guide to the misled.
Yes.
She is the guide to the misled and the misinformed.
That's a very.
And so her voice is more important
way to
than
say it.
ever. And so for that reason, I think she needs to be here. Hopefully we can have her next week. We'll check with her schedule. She is a healer, a counselor, and also an advocate for people in the trans community, which of course, unfortunately, attacks against trans folks is up something like 900% in some areas. It's very terrifying. It's very, very terrifying. I've seen some traumatic film footage, and people have been murdered. And so maybe if we can bring a little light and education, because there's quite a lot of ignorance going around on this
Tawny
subject.
has quite a calling, and I would consider it a privilege to have her on the show.
I think we need her to come in and bring a little light to the darkness.
Yes.
Okay, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring in the empath prayer. We're going to have a discussion about what you need to do to heal your life, and then we're going to open to collective readings. If you have a question and you need it answered from spirit, Chuck and I will do our best. We should also mention that both of us are licensed healthcare providers, but of course, anything we say, we are not diagnosing or prescribing. We're just giving general information. And you always want to talk to your doctor and healthcare workers before changing diet, nutrition, or anything like that. So we do need to say that we are licensed, we are trained, we've been in this profession for a very long time, but we do not diagnose or prescribe here on the channel. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in the empath's prayer. Of course, if you would like to receive a healing at this time, or if somebody you know needs to receive a healing at this time, please give us your name or the name of the person that you want us to pray for, and we will include them in our prayers as we bring in the empath's prayer. Okay. I need to take a little tea. Guess which tea I'm drinking right now, Chuck?
Oh, do tell me.
All right. So
we drank a lot of tea while we were in the UK.
Yes, I loved it. So this is a white sage tea. Actually, pardon me, this is actually Greek sage tea. As many of you know, I'm still recovering from the upper respiratory infection that I got when we were shooting the film footage that we were shooting outside Buckingham Palace. We will show you the full film footage once we create the video, and I need to get all your video stuff texted to me so that and then we'll arrange a day to pre-shoot together so that everything can go up for both of our channels. But anything you wanted to add, Chuck?
Well, I was just going to say we sincerely tried to meet all the requests on the trip. We tried so hard to produce the videos.
We had a lot of requests.
It was just a lot. It was just to the point, wouldn't you agree, where it was humanly
impossible?
Yeah,
I mean, people requested we go to Westminster and St. Paul's, and we were not able to fulfill that request.
We did try our sincerest
and we are sorry because the people did bring donations, and we were kind of going for those people, and we understood the responsibility we had to go to those places and to cover those places for those of you who donated to the trip. And so we sincerely are apologized.
But we worked hard. We really tried our best.
But there was a request for Westminster, for Windsor Castle, and that was the first request we fulfilled.
Which
Buckingham Palace, Rome, and
London.
We were. Oh, the Tower of London was our leading request. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. Well, thank goodness we covered that first.
Yeah. I'm glad. I wanted that out of the way. So we did our
Yeah.
best. Yeah, so this is Greek sage and it's for upper respiratory infections. It's a purifier. It was the third throw. If you got your reading yesterday and you were attracted to the herbs, if you were I found when I meditated and watched my own video that I was attracted to the white sage. And so now is a time of purification. And I'm under attack because there's a major hack at Facebook, and my credit
Yes.
card
This is
and my
terrible.
PayPal were hacked. They took out
So
about
sorry.
$700,
Dear
and
God.
they have shut down my ability to post on Facebook for a week. Not only that, but they keep demanding I give them money because I didn't pay them.
What?
Because when I thought money was coming out of my card to pay them for the ads, it was actually scammers taking it and funneling it to them, to
That's frightening.
themselves.
That's really
So
frightening.
they still have not fixed the problem. So we, unfortunately, we usually get about 500 to 1,000 people on Facebook, and none of those people can be here
Right.
because of the hack. I'm sorry, I'm literally knocked out of Facebook until it's. They also
Yeah.
put human exploitation stuff on my channel, so which locked me out of my own channel, so I couldn't stop the scam.
Well,
The
say
first thing,
nothing of slandering
right?
you.
The first thing that they do is they put child exploitation stuff
That's
on your
that's
channel
defamation right there.
to flag you getting locked out, and
Yeah.
so you can't stop when they hijack you and begin taking money out of your credit card.
It's
And
frightening that can be done so easily.
yeah, and Facebook makes $55 billion a year on advertising, and they are hacking Facebook, but it's really going into a Facebook account. So Facebook ends up making billions off the scam. And so this is what the lawsuit is about, that they're not doing anything because they themselves are making money off this scam.
Yeah.
And so
Can
that
you
it's a
talk?
yeah, go ahead,
There
please.
is a lawsuit. There is definitely a
Yeah,
lawsuit.
I contacted them and said I was one of the victims, the people overseeing the class action, and so I will be part of that class action lawsuit.
Good for
Yeah,
you.
it is what it is.
It
All
is what
right,
it is.
without who did I piss off, Dr. Anderson? Probably the Iranians.
Mhm.
I think that's pretty obvious that it's a foreign government, probably Iran. So targeting Israelis, Jews, that's probably, yeah, that's who I pissed off. I think it's pretty obvious what happened. All right, without further ado, let's bring in the empath's prayer.
Okay.
Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, as a community, we say Amen. And for those people requesting healings requesting healings at this time, we come together at this time and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again, collectively, we say Amen,
Amen.
Amen,
Amen.
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 May all souls be healed.
May
All
all
right.
souls be healed. I could feel that, Whimsy. Did you feel that energy?
I was
That last
trying.
part?
I was
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
I was doing my thing. I was doing my qigong thing. All right.
Mm.
So we thought we would start off today talking a little bit about what you need to do in order to heal your life. And it really is something that is a full-time job. Just
Yeah.
maintaining yourself is a full-time job. So
It's a
let's break.
relationship with yourself. I feel.
Exactly. It's a relationship with yourself. So you are walking around with this skin of leather. You have a
Mhm.
physical body, you have a spiritual and emotional self, you have your mental body, your physical, your
Mhm.
spiritual. And it really is a full-time job to take care of yourself. This is why we have moved away from politics. It's not that we can't talk about
Yeah,
politics. It's not that we can't answer your
it's
questions
moderation,
about what's going
balance.
on in Russia,
Mhm.
what's going on in Ukraine. We can do that here,
Yeah,
but Chuck and I have had long and sincere conversations, and thank God my assistant is on the same page. And this is
very
what we
much
were
so.
put on this earth to do. This is what we're trained to do. Like I said, we are trained, we are licensed to do this. This is our calling. Is and I think we've spent decades developing this aspect of ourselves.
I
Is
think we spent lifetimes, many
yeah,
lifetimes, and I think
trying.
some of those lifetimes, you and me together,
Yes.
we have such a connection with each other. We've had that from day one when we first worked together.
We
And I,
we are in the top. We are very close friends,
yeah.
and yeah. Did you have something else you wanted to add
Well,
to
I was
that?
just going to say that I've always felt that this direction we're taking is where we've always been meant to go. This is
That's
really our
right.
higher purpose because you and I have always been committed to healing, to spirituality, for the higher good of people. We both
Hmm.
love people
Hmm.
very much. So still so in
Yes.
harmony.
And when you are spending time on Facebook and YouTube, that's okay. But there are things that are going on in your physical body, in your spirit, and in your mind
Yeah,
because of the actions that you are taking. So for every action, there's a reaction of
yeah,
equal or greater force. And there are karmic consequences to every choice
yeah.
and every action that you engage in.
If I may say, karma, people have this idea that karma is punishment. I think karma is more a consequence, a reaction, a response to what we're putting out into the world. And we're getting that back more so than a punishment. It's meant to teach us something.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if we just talk about what is necessary for you to have a healthy physical body. All right. So
Well,
how often do you think about or are you engaged in activities that are going to allow you to have a healthy physical body?
yeah.
How
You know,
much time are you putting in a day on that subject? Please go ahead, Chuck.
okay. Well, I was going to say, when I said that it's like a relationship with ourselves, it's ongoing. Part of a relationship is knowing how to listen. And usually our body, our mind, our soul will begin with whispers and then they get louder and louder as we ignore them. But often our physical body will say, we've got fatigue, we've got a headache, we've got anxiety, we're burned out. And many times we don't listen to that. I'm guilty of that, of just cracking the whip and going, oh, get over myself. I got work to do. I think
Mhm.
many of us do that.
So what you're saying, Chuck, is that the first thing that you can do to begin to heal your body physically is to begin to listen
Yeah.
to your physical body. Please go on.
You
Please
have to
go on.
listen because often it is quiet, it is subtle, it is like a whisper in the beginning, but we often ignore it. And so it gets louder and louder and louder to it's screaming at us, and then it becomes eventually a nuclear explosion. I
Mhm.
think we've all been in those positions.
Mhm.
But our body is constantly talking to us, our soul, our mind. It's always telling us what it needs.
Mhm. So taking time every day to sit in a quiet place
Yeah.
and love yourself enough
Mhm.
just to listen
To
what
love
is
yourself.
and what
Yeah.
is going on inside my body. And you may want to do a scan starting from the tips of your toe to the top of your head,
Mhm.
checking in. How is my left foot? How is my right foot? How are my ankles? How is my feet? How is my calves? Go through your entire physical body. Just take 5 minutes
Yeah.
breathing calmly to listen and to connect with your body and to send love and
Mhm.
tell yourself that I love my physical body. I
Yes.
care about my feet. I care about those old knees.
I
I
honor
love
myself. I
that.
honor my body. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I do too. But I love when you say it's about loving ourselves, truly, authentically loving ourselves. And I might add that exercise you just proposed is extremely grounding and calming. It's a great way to start the day, or it's a great thing to do when you're just caught up in the middle of a lot of anxiety.
That's right.
Yeah.
So listen to your body, do a physical check-in, proprioception, knowing where you are in space, what is hurting in your body, Vipassana meditation, going in and being present for your physical body is one of the best things you can do for your health. And the second part of that, and I know Chuck will have a lot to say about this, is you then have to act. You have to know what to do about the pains and the problems that you're physically feeling.
Yeah. And sometimes it can be just simple things like rest. We don't get enough sleep at night, or we don't take time during the day just to be still and quiet for a few minutes. Rest is one of the most obvious things. It can be hydrating ourselves. Many of us are guilty of not drinking enough water. Maybe we just need to go out for a walk. We need to pay attention to our breathing. And sometimes even just being kind to yourself, saying kind things to yourself, because we all have that inner critic within ourselves that can be quite a tyrant, can be quite cruel. And so that in itself puts poison back into us. But I have found that the body, we are so sophisticated, our bodies will start healing almost immediately. Do you find that to be true, Whimsy, once we start going on the right path?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what are some of the measurements that everybody should be aware of, particularly once we get a little older? Well, you should probably have a good working blood pressure machine in your home. It is one of the most important things that you can measure on a daily basis. When should you measure it? You should measure it first thing in the morning, before you've had coffee, before you've had anything to drink. So we want to get a baseline. As healthcare practitioners, we want to know that you took your blood pressure. It's abbreviated as BP. And the best time to do it is in the morning before you've eaten or drank anything.
Especially before your coffee.
That's right. So if you're running around the block and busy all day long, and you've drunk a bunch of coffee and you've eaten a bunch of sodium, and you find that your blood pressure is elevated, oh my God, my blood pressure is 140. Relax. That's not the blood pressure reading that we as doctors are focusing on. The blood pressure reading that is significant to us is that first in the morning. Are you feeling better now? Oh, thank God, doctor, I was worried, right? So what happens is you get a white coat syndrome. You go in to see the doctor. You've already had your breakfast. You've already had your coffee. You've already had your bacon. You've got white coat syndrome, and then you're going to wind up with a BP of 145 over 90, and you're going to think that that's your baseline. Right. That's not your baseline. So the first thing that we recommend is that you begin monitoring your blood pressure first thing in the morning before you've eaten or drank anything, because a lot of we find out a lot of what's going on in a person's body when they start to have elevated blood pressure. Can you talk about what you think some of those problems could be, what a person's at risk of when they start to have an elevated blood pressure?
Well, what they're at risk of right off the bat, heart disease and stroke.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are two of the very biggest things right there. But I just find so many people are holding anxiety within themselves, and they've almost become so used to the anxiety, they're not even aware of it, but it's present. So it is important, I think, what you said, to do the reading first thing in the morning before you've had anything to eat, anything to drink, when you're hopefully nice and calm and rested. But what do you think also about maybe doing readings throughout the day and keeping a little diary?
I think that it's going to drive you crazy. Because things happen throughout the day. I really, the main thing is I want to see how you're doing first thing in the morning. If you want to do it later in the day and see how it jumps, that might be interesting information.
At least document what you're doing at that time.
What those activities are doing. Throughout the day. The other thing we want you to do is we want you to check your heart rate. And usually when you're getting your blood pressure tested, you're also going to be able to get your heart rate as well. And what we know about an elevated heart rate is that it could be that you are deconditioned, that you have more fluid in the pipes than you should, and so your heart is beating faster and faster and faster because there's just too much fluid, and that is putting pressure on the heart. So elevated blood pressure, what can be the cause? Kidney disease. This is Chuck's main area. Is he's very focused on kidney disease and urology in men.
It was a friend of mine I helped, thanks to you. Thanks to you.
That was before you got licensed. I think he had to do like a 2-hour exam to get licensed as a physician's assistant. He had to go in for his final exam, and as I think the urology is one of the most complicated subjects. But you aced. I think you got 100% on your urology.
I had a friend who was going through an issue, and he was misdiagnosed as having a heart attack. And I knew intuitively that was not what had happened to him. He had serious prostate issues and was causing his urethra to become so blocked up that his urine was backing up into his kidneys and oversaturating the kidneys, which of course triggered the kidneys to think, too much fluid. I got to bring down the blood pressure. I got to make the heart beat faster and harder.
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm oversimplifying.
Right. So often we will see if you are starting to experience kidney disease, which can happen as we age. Drugs can cause kidney disease. Too much sodium. The body is attempting to flush the sodium.
Yeah.
Too much. It will lead to too much fluid in the body and edema, and that will cause rapid heartbeat and hypertension. So one of the causes of hypertension and rapid heartbeat is too much fluid, and that can be because of, for whatever reason, the kidneys are not able to eliminate. And enlarged prostate in men can be one of the causes. So you want to be looking at heart rate, and you want to look at blood pressure. In terms of the original question, we asked ourselves, how much time do you take throughout the day to make sure that you're in a good place? This is what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that your first and foremost responsibility above anything else is you have been given a body. You are a human being. You are in this dimension, and you have been given a human body, a physical body, and you have a moral responsibility, an obligation to love yourself. Or from a Buddhist perspective, if you are a Buddhist and you are engaged in that practice, you are in violation of the law if you don't. This is something that Nichiren Daishonin talks about. Do not seek the Buddha outside yourself. To do so, you're not practicing Buddhism, but an inferior teaching. So when we put our energy out there and we focus only on the crisis that's going on out there, we abandon the time that is needed and that we are obligated to engage in. That is part of self-care. Would you like to add to that, Chuck?
Well, I love that because, we talked about how we want to change the direction of the show and get away from a lot of the negativity and news and so forth. And I just thought, when we're immersed in it, it's like we're putting poison in ourselves. We're adding to the toxicity, and it's about balance. It's about not, it's, as you said, we can watch the news, but much less, and spend more time focusing on our soul, focus on breathing, walking. What are we putting in our bodies? What brings us happiness? What brings us creative fulfillment? What grounds and centers us? I think we've gotten away from that.
Right. And we will continue on this subject today. We're going to do one more thing on this subject because we're just focusing today on the physical body. And then we want to start getting to everybody's questions. There's many people that have Tarot questions, and we want to make sure to get to those. But the last measurement that we want you to look at is your fasting glucose. Okay. So we have asked you to do 3 things for your physical body, to look at monitoring 3 things. Your blood pressure in the morning, your heart rate, your resting heart rate, and your fasting glucose. Now, after 3 months, we can see how well your body is dealing with sugar over a 3-month or long-term period by looking at something which is known as a hemoglobin A1C. And what that is that's measuring the amount of red blood cells material in your blood. So when there is too much glucose in the blood, it will attract water. Water follows glucose, and that causes your red blood cells to swell and burst, leaving fragments that are called hemoglobin A1C. So when we see an elevation of those fragments in your blood, that is telling us that you have so much glucose in your blood that it's causing fragments and rupture of your your red blood cells, which puts you at risk of coronary disease and stroke. Did you have anything you wanted to add about blood sugar?
I think you more or less have said it right there, but it certainly is an issue. I think a lot of people don't pay attention to their blood sugar. And as we know, as Americans, we just consume absurd amounts of sugar. It's one of the reasons, diabetes, I think in 1970 was like number 10 on the list of the top killers. And now isn't it number 3?
Yes.
And I understand that's because our consumption of sugar has gone up so dramatically. I mean, you read labels in the grocery store on cans. It's like sugar is added to everything right now.
So what can you do with all that information that we've given you today about the 3 things that are the 3 most important things that can give you a baseline about what's going on in your physical body? First off, we want you to take 5 minutes every day, first thing in the morning, to physically acknowledge that you love your body. Your body is beautiful, even if you're not on the cover of Vogue, right? Who cares anyway, man? Those people are miserable. I used to work with those people. They're all ready to jump off the roof. I mean, like, who cares, man?
I have a friend who was a professional model, and she said it was a miserable existence. She was beautiful and willowy and tall, and they were still telling her she needed to lose 10 more pounds.
Yeah.
You know that, Whimsy, from your modeling days.
Yeah, and they don't have better love lives either. I mean, what I have some traumatic memories and a few great photographs. So,
you have beautiful photographs you showed me on the trip.
I had a couple good breaks.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm still gorgeous.
You're still gorgeous.
I'll be honest with you. I love myself a lot more now than I did back then. But so we're going to have you check in on yourself daily. And we're going to have you check those levels often. Check your blood sugar if you can. Make sure and get a baseline. You can go to any walk-in clinic and get your CBC, get your CMP, get your thyroid checked, get a urinalysis done. Pay cash if you have to. But also C-reactive protein to find out if there's inflammation going on in your body. But what you can do at home is it really is worth it to invest in a blood pressure machine, check your heart rate. Now, what can you do right now to get all of those levels to be better? And you've heard it before, but I'll say it again. Start throwing the white stuff out of your house. Start throwing the white stuff out of your house. More than likely, a large percentage of your problems are because of the white stuff. And I'm not talking about, though we used to live in LA, we saw a lot of people that were on the white stuff. I've never tried, I never went through a drug phase. I got prescribed marijuana after my divorce, and that was the only drug I ever tried. It was like, well, that was an interesting trip to go on. But so I just did it. I had sugar in my home. I had pasta. I had some great pasta in Italy, but that's an exception. It's not the rule. I got rid of the pasta. I got rid of the sugar. I got rid of the sour. I threw the sourdough bread away. I threw it all out. I got rid of my ketchup.
That's loaded with sugar.
Yeah, I got rid of my marmalade. I got rid of my strawberry jam. After I got back, I'd been working on my spirituality. I've been chanting a lot. I've been trying to increase the amount of chanting I've been doing. That's kind of my dedication to my own practice. But I said, this is ridiculous. I have a doctoral degree. I know precisely what's going on inside my body. And I went to the fridge and I took everything that had sugar and I threw it in the trash,
Yeah.
and I'm done with it. And so now I'm on a mostly nutritarian diet. I do have some full fat milk in my diet, but the best thing you can do, sourdough bread still has an extremely high glycemic index because commercial sourdough bread is not real sourdough.
Mhm.
If you're talking about sourdough from whole grain, indigenous sourdough, like the type that the Swiss did, where they would grind a bunch of whole grain and let it
Yeah.
sour for a week, that's not commercial sourdough. Commercial
European
sourdough
breads.
is just white bread
Yeah.
with a little bit of sour starter. That's not real sourdough.
No. Well, we noticed a difference with the European breads over
Yeah.
there, and we always have. You know, I have a niece, she cannot tolerate gluten. She has difficulty with American breads, but when she's in Spain, she has no problem whatsoever. In fact, she was so delighted, she bought like a 50-pound bag of flour there in Spain and had it shipped home so she could bake her own bread.
It's still got a glycemic index of 100, and it's still not good for you. It may
Yeah.
be easier to digest, but it's still going to spike your blood sugar. And the
Yeah.
majority of Americans are simply consuming too many simple carbohydrates, which is not the same. And all carbohydrates are not the same.
No, no.
So if you're talking about fiber, for example, that's a carbohydrate, but it's a non-digestible carbohydrate that helps bulk up your stool and it helps you evacuate. And there are two types of fiber. There's soluble and there's water. There's water soluble and non-soluble. Water soluble, an example of that would be chia, where it gets soaked up, chia seeds, it soaks up the water, and it also soaks up the cholesterol in your
Yes.
digestive tract, lowering cholesterol.
You
So
mean the cholesterol released by the liver, right?
that's correct. They're
Yeah.
released by the liver and dumped via the gallbladder
Yeah.
into the so it can be recycled in the digestive tract if you don't have soluble fiber in the form of chia on a daily basis. Flax contains both insoluble and soluble. Soluble fiber, like I said, collects cholesterol, and non-soluble bulks up your stool so that you won't have conditions like diverticuli, which can become infected, causing diverticulitis, and it won't cause polyps and other problems, and will help you have a healthy evacuation. So we're talking about no white foods, and that includes white flour, sugar, and potatoes, white potatoes. If those can be eliminated from your body, if you just do that one thing and begin to move towards lower glycemic foods. So when we're talking about lower glycemic foods, we're talking about a glycemic index of about 55. So anything that has a glycemic index that's lower than 55. So low glycemic foods will often be high in fiber, which is the good fiber, but so the good carbs, but it won't have the bad carbs. So here's an example that I like. If you're just don't know what to do and you're trying to heal your life and you're trying to listen to physician's assistant like Chuck or Dr. Whimsy, you want to be moving towards the green foods. And I will go ahead and we will give a link to this PDF and start cutting out the things that are on the red side. And if you do that, then you're going to be in a much better place because you're no longer going to be feeding the beast. You're not going to be feeding, giving your body more sugar than it can process. If you're giving your body more sugar than it can process, then it will wind up stored in the liver, and then it can evolve into fatty liver disease because too much sugar in the liver gets converted to fat. And you wind up with an elevated hemoglobin A1C and an elevated glucose, and none of that is good. So
I'm also thinking of the inflammatory properties of sugar. And you've talked about that this year. It's particularly important that we be on anti-inflammatory diets.
You're right.
Yeah.
So you can have, for example, Dave's Killer Bread, the thin sliced. That's really good.
You only recommend that to one of your patients?
Yeah. I had some. I wanted some toast today, and so I toasted some thin sliced 21 grain Dave's Killer Bread, which has a glycemic index of about 55, 65, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I put a little bit of organic butter on that, and then I put some. Because I don't do jam anymore, I put sliced strawberries on that. Have that with a boiled egg, and so you're going to enjoy your meal. You're going to have a nice meal, but you're not going to be bombarding yourself by those carbohydrates that are so bad for you. And you can see here on the right, the number one cause of a lot of our health problems are all of these foods that we think about that are higher in the glycemic index, so much so that I would say the majority of the health crisis happening in this country are because of consumption of these foods. And you can see here sourdough white is on the list.
I'm just looking at so many things on that list that are just common to the American diet.
Mm-hmm. Cornflakes. I love cornflakes.
Yeah.
But this stuff doesn't need to be in my home. Right. And so that is today's mini talk from Chuck and I about how you're going to improve your health. And so next week, when we talk to you, you're confused. Oh, I hope you're not confused. That is what Chuck and I wanted to talk about. Next week, we're going to be talking a little bit more about things you can do to empower yourself. But right now, you're going to be spending 5 minutes checking in on yourself and getting into a good place, saying you love your body, you're taking responsibility for your health. And
maybe people can even comment next week the results that they're getting from doing this. We'd love to have people share with us.
I have a patient here. Hold on.
Is that something I should have been doing, Whimsy?
No, it's just a patient.
Okay. Yeah. But no, we would love to hear from all of you, your own feedback, your own experiences. This is something that we can gauge over the coming weeks,
Yeah. So without further ado, we will blitz away, and we're going to get to everybody's questions. And of course, if people want to make a donation, Chuck and I would be really appreciative because we spent way too much money.
Way too much.
Oh my God, we did.
Okay. Very frugally right now, but it was worth it, Whimsy. It's really worth it.
Yeah. Okay. So this question is from Elaine Patino. We're going to do 1-card blitzes now for everybody. Hello. Is my daughter going to buy a house with mother in quarters in the future? Let's take a look. Thank you for your question, Elaine Patino.
Let's see.
The answer I get is if she truly wants this, and I believe she does, that the universe will make sure that it happens. What? You have an Ace of Cups, which is love from the universe. The love you take is equal to the love you make. You created a lot of love between you and your daughter, and I think the answer is yes.
Well, what I got was rest with the dove of peace. I immediately got the hit that this just feels very harmonious. It feels peaceful. It feels positive. It feels like, yes, this is a good possibility here. Certainly the intention is there for this to happen, but it feels very peaceful to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Answering your patient in real time. I think so. Based on what you said, what I got in this card, it certainly seems like a good, strong likelihood.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. With an Ace of Cups, that's like love from the universe. So I think it's really good.
Yeah, this is always a
Okay.
very good card. It always feels right to me. This is way more sedate than Russian dance I'm used to.
Okay, this is people
Yeah,
talking about the dance.
I know
All
how she
right.
scoots across the floor. You know, I was immediately thinking of Michael Jackson and his moonwalk. You
Oh,
know,
he was an amazing
the way he
dancer.
could do that, so give the illusion that he was just gliding across the floor. That's what they were doing. They were giving that illusion, and they were in
Yeah.
such synergy with one another.
Swans. They were
Swans.
swans
Yeah.
gliding. Did you see that he was on point? He was
I didn't see that he was on point. No, I did not.
yeah, he was doing point. All right. Thelma has a question. Hi, Thelma. Thelma
How-
wants to know, how long will I live where I am? Okay. How long will Thelma? One card for Thelma. I feel a lot of confusion over this. I feel
Yeah.
like you don't really know where to go with this with a moon card. And I feel
Yeah.
like it's up to you. The power is with you, the King of Wands. When you decide to leave, you will leave. But right now, I feel like you're teetering. You don't know if you should go or stay. Chuck?
What that's so interesting because when I had the competition card come up, you know, the two people, the tug of war, pulling back and forth with each other, I thought, no, how does this apply? But I think that makes sense when you said that she's being pulled in different directions right now. She doesn't know quite what she wants. That's what I got from this tug of war here. It's almost like a competition within your own self. And once you
Yeah.
can calm that down, as we've been saying, when you calm yourself, you can listen. You can listen to your guidance. You can listen to your intuition. I think then you're going to get clearer answers once you can do that.
Hmm. Yeah. So right now, the reason you haven't moved is because you're on the fence. If you really
Yeah.
decide you want to get out of there, you will get organized, you will figure it out, and you will find a way. But right now, you
Hmm.
haven't really decided. But King of Wands came to you, and that is make a decision. Make a decision. Yeah.
Hmm.
All
Okay.
right. Please go ahead, Chuck.
I would love to know how I can eliminate my edema and what can help with my arthritis pain in hips and knees. Well,
Well, first
Dr.
first
Whimsy,
off, what is the cause of the edema? If the cause of the
yeah,
edema is that your kidneys are having problems, then I
yeah,
would take the advice that we're talking about and go with lower glycemic foods. And I would also check out the work of Dr. Joel Furman. Dr. Joel Furman, he wrote Eat to Live, and I would strongly encourage you to get a copy of that book, Eat to Live by Joel Furman, and also check him out on YouTube. He is the developer of Nutritarianism. That is where he helps people create diets that are extremely nutrient dense, to focus on a nutrient dense diet. But the edema could be too much stress in the kidneys. And so
yeah,
the other thing, I would pull sodium. So number one, get rid of the white foods and start to go nutrient dense. The
mhm,
other thing I might suggest is to pull sodium. And
yeah,
so we're talking about a whole foods, low glycemic index diet,
mhm,
and to eliminate sugar and salt from your diet. And the last thing I would recommend, because you're also describing inflammation in the body, is that you have too much in Ayurvedic medicine, what we call ama, or too much waste in the body, and we want to dump and help your body eliminate it. So
yeah,
going on a more alkaline diet with low sodium is going to help your kidneys release some of that ama. And we always recommend triphala or trifala, known as the three fruits. It can be mixed with water, let it soak for a little bit, and you
yeah,
can drink it before going to bed, and it just helps your body eliminate waste products that are
mhm,
accumulating throughout the day. So those are
yeah.
the three things we would recommend.
We
We
used to
would
sell that where we
Right.
worked. It's a very
Yeah.
common thing to find in health stores. And I'm sure it goes without saying that hopefully Irish girls also had a complete physical workup because there could be any number of things behind this. I was even thinking circulation, heart, even with the edema. I don't know if that occurred to you, Whimsy.
Yeah. So That's the thing, is that if your kidneys cannot eliminate the fluid, then it can place problems on the heart. Or if she had a past history of congestive heart failure, if she had
Yeah.
had a heart attack in the past.
Yeah.
But what she's describing is that she's in an inflamed state,
Mhm.
and the inflammation is and the additional weight is causing pain to her hips and knees. And
Yes.
so we think about eat to live. And we also, the last thing is, we think about intermittent fasting, which is to try not to. I'm sorry, I have a patient that's kind of having a crisis, but to try and not eat about 3 hours prior to bed. And so give your body a window of a 14-hour a day fast. And so say, for example, you stop eating at 7 p.m., you would break your fast at 9 a.m. the following day. And this is one of the best things you can do to eliminate edema. So we're taking out the salt, we're taking out the sugar, the stuff that causes weight and accumulation. We're focusing on foods that are nutrient dense and low sugar, and we eliminating also the sodium, and we are doing intermittent fasting to give your body a chance. Your body needs a chance to eliminate, and if you're constantly eating, your body cannot clean itself.
No.
It cannot eliminate. And so by giving yourself a 14-hour window, you're allowing your body to eliminate those toxins. Now you may want to build up from that and do a 16-hour fast. So your last meal is completed at 6 p.m. and then say you break fast at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
But we usually start people, Chuck and I usually start people at about 14 hours. And if they can do 14 hours, then they're doing great. But you certainly want to do more than 13 hours fasting daily. And those 3 things that we're recommending can be helpful. And finally, we would recommend gentle physical movement. The best movement for the human body, based on the research at this time, is swimming. If you can get into
low impact.
water, that's correct. And yet it's still anaerobic and aerobic. So it's not going to be putting stress on your hips and knees because you're in the water, but you're still going to be resisting because it has a similar gravitational pull to the moon. So if you're 180 pounds on land, you're going to be only like 90 pounds in the water.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. So this is why astronauts practice
I knew
in the water,
is
so that they can can get used to that gravitational pull. If you're not able to get to the water, then we would recommend gentle exercise like chair yoga can be very helpful. So walking, if walking is not possible because of your condition, then we would recommend getting into the water. If you can't do that, we would recommend looking at chair yoga, physically moving where you're at, and cleaning up your diet. And if you do those things, you should start to see improvements.
I wanted to add, when you were saying about not eating after, say, 7 or 8 p.m. and going on a fast of that length of time, you're giving your body a chance to really rest also, to have a quality rest. When we eat heavily, we can't really sleep properly. We can't. Our body doesn't really get a chance to rest because it's still working so hard processing all of that.
That is correct. And so when you digest a piece of food, like say you eat a salad or something like that, or your body is going to do an initial sweep. Peristalsis starts to happen, and it's going to begin to bring that food down the digestive tract. And that is the first sweep. And then once it goes through, your body is going to do a second sweep. It's going to do it one more time, and then it's going to get every single morsel of that French toast or whatever it is you ate. Yes, you can still have the French toast. Just make sure you're using low glycemic bread. Enjoy it. But that is the second sweep. And so what we're finding with Americans is that they never do the second sweep because they're eating every couple of hours and because they're not doing that intermittent fasting. And so they're never fully eliminating in their intestines. And this is when they start to have all kinds of problems in their intestines.
Yeah. Well, from Christy Beverly, Well, this is quite a question. How dangerous is it to live near a large 5G tower? Whimsy, I'm immediately thinking about the days when you and I used to do the hair tests. And remember,
Yes.
that was one of the things that would test for EMTs. Is that the correct terminology? It's been so many years since we
Yeah,
did
EMFs, but
EMF. Thank you.
an EMT is an emergency medical tech, but
I'm sorry.
which you may need.
Yeah,
It depends. We got less and less readings with the new technology coming out on the iPhone. I was very happy to see that
yeah,
the iPhone makers were not poo-pooing and gaslighting people and saying, "Oh, there's
yeah,
nothing there," but they
yeah,
actually have been really proactive about protecting for that. And we are happy to say that the newer phones, we're seeing a lot less of that. And I don't know if you noticed that, but after they got through the iPhone 5 iPhone, that's when we really started to see that the numbers were coming way, 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 way down. And
that's
I think
really
it's just
good.
have you noticed that? I mean, they've just been
Yeah,
a lot more proactive. And so what we were getting was more real radiation.
yeah,
So much so that the company out of Germany was contacting us and trying to figure out why there was so much radiation. So
yeah. I
we were not
remember that
getting,
now.
yeah, we didn't have an EMF problem with when the new phones started to come out. And
Yeah,
we started seeing a dramatic drop, and we're like, well, that's great, the drops. And then it was because they had started to develop more protections
yeah,
on the phones and not gaslighting the audience into the customer into believing there was no problem. No, they
yeah,
addressed the problem, and so it's much, much safer. These new phones started seeing people getting tumors, etc. So finally,
yeah,
instead of gaslighting people, they started to do something about it. No, what we started to see was a new problem, and that was radiation. You want to talk a
yeah.
little bit
Oh,
about the
yeah.
radiation
Well, I'm
problem?
reminded, well, I mean, from different sources, like we would find people who would test very high. They would tell us, well, I just got back from Europe. I was on a 12-hour flight or something. They were up in the air. People don't realize how much radiation you can get just at the airport, being in a plane. People getting things from their electrical devices, electric blankets, having that
Yeah.
over your body.
Mhm.
Those are people who would test very high, because this was all in the hair strand. I don't know if we should explain what we used to do. It was like a
Well,
little miniature MRI machine, and we'd scan
mutation,
the hair.
it
Yeah,
was detecting mutations and damage in the hair follicle, and
yeah.
so we used to have to pull it out from
We have to
uh,
pluck three hairs.
yeah,
Yeah.
we found some really interesting things, but we got a call from the company that was analyzing hair damage, and they wanted to know what was going on in California because everybody coming in had radiation poisoning, and it was actually from flying in airplanes because we had producers and actors and actresses
Yes.
coming in, and what happens when you fly is you go above the ozone layer, that is protective, and you start getting radiated in the plane. And this is
Yeah.
why stewardesses or flight attendants have
Mhm.
higher breast cancer rates. And so our numbers were through the roof, and they thought, did somebody drop an atomic bomb in California? So we actually got a call from you remember that? And we
I
got so we
remember this now. Yeah.
yeah, so we got a call from the company, and then we had to look at go back, and every single person was a producer or actor who had been
Mhm.
flying back and forth to
Mhm.
Europe and Canada, and
Mhm.
it was just the constant flying that
Yeah.
actors do, and that's
Yeah.
actually what happened.
But
Yeah.
what's interesting when I saw this question about the 5G tower, I mean, I know this is not the same thing, but we had one client who just tested through the roof,
Oh,
for
wow.
radiation, and it turned out they had a big electrical tower right behind their apartment building.
Right. So EMF is not EMF is different than radiation. It's
Yeah,
electrical stimulation that's
yeah,
actually having a physical impact under these electrical towers. For example, we're seeing certain types of cancer clusters were being linked because it started messing with cell division.
yes, yeah,
And so that's a little different than an EMF is different than radiation. So we were
right. I
testing
wanted to
for
acknowledge
both,
that. Yeah.
and they were looking specifically at the type of damage that was associated with that particular type of whether it was an EMF or radiation.
Hmm.
It's very scary because but a lot of that stuff is gotten reduced. It's kind of like they quietly got rid of it without acknowledging anything, which
Hmm.
I just think is, it's makes me hate big business. I don't
It's
know.
amazing. I remember the horror stories when 5G first came out. There were these predictions that birds were going to die in the sky and fall to the
Well, a lot of
ground.
that was fake, and
I know, but we were really being given horror stories.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was very happy that we were just, and I was talking to the company that iPhone is doing a lot better with that. So, yeah, and now they have the earbuds where you don't even have to have it. So
Yeah.
they weren't willing to acknowledge it, but they were willing to do something about it. So meditate on that. That should answer your question about whether this was real or not. The fact that they had earbuds where you didn't hold it like this, but like this with these wireless, there's your answer. So obviously there was a problem, but we're really impressed that we're not seeing those numbers anymore. Like I said, the numbers went way down after the iPhone 5. And I think that they just got so many lawsuits and crap that eventually they became very proactive about protecting. I can't comment on the Android and the other stuff, but the iPhone, they did great. But it's also something to think about. I fly a lot and I get sick. My body does not like travel. I love the concept of travel, but I have to acknowledge that every time I travel, I get terribly sick. You were doing great. I was really impressed. Did you get sick at all?
Okay. No, not at all. But you seem to handle the flying much better this time. It was just you got sick once you were there when we were in London.
Yeah, I ate some dirt. I mean, he and I were recording and then a bunch of wind, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to pay for this. And sure enough, I got sick. I just got a bunch of dirt in my lungs. That's what happened. That's really how I got sick. Yeah.
So sorry. But you seemed to fly very well this time.
Yeah, I did fine with the flying. It was all that dust. There were dust winds. You started coughing.
I did. We were, I think that video you were going to show of us in front of Buckingham Palace, that was like the third take because I would be talking, it would just be stuff in my throat.
Yeah, it was really, Hyde Park just was really dusty that day.
Very beautiful, but very, very dusty.
Yeah. All right.
Will my epidural steroid injection help my injury in my back? And that's, of course, from Heidi Christensen.
Absolutely. Steroids are anti-inflammatories, and if the problem is due to inflammation, then a steroid is a temporary solution if you do have an injury. But it's not necessarily a cure. It's just going to take away the pain. But you don't want to get comfortable and re-injure it. You still have to ice and be gentle with your back while it heals. If it's a connective tissue injury and it's something like that that's temporary, then this too shall heal. It's a good temporary fix. So that's what we would say about that. Not necessarily. Have you ever had to do anything like that, Chuck?
No, I've been lucky. I haven't had to do that. Not yet in my life, anyway.
Okay, let's see what else we got going in here. If you do today, can I expect a good result from talking to my son-in-law? Nancy Potter wants to know if she should talk to her son-in-law.
Well,
that is a good question.
We're just doing one card here. I might normally do more, but the thing that I just go by the first thing that jumps out of the deck. I got this is about taking care of priorities. And Nancy, I don't know what your situation is, the circumstances, but this is what came out for me. There are some very important priorities that need to be addressed, whatever they may be. But as far as having a good result from talking to your son-in-law, I would normally pull more cards. Should I, Whimsy, or did you just have a card that maybe says...
Well, I just feel like he's emotionally a pretty sensitive guy, possibly even emotionally mature, because he presents as the Knight of Cups. And so you're not responsible for that if he is a highly sensitive guy or if he's emotionally sensitive. So I would not take it personally if he's difficult to deal with.
Okay.
And if you feel questionable about it, then I would avoid it. Yeah.
You know what? I just want to say, I got the head as you said that for Nancy. This is about her priorities. Her priorities. in speaking with her son-in-law. So she needs to adhere to that. What's important.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm sorry. My is that my boyfriend, my BF,
Mhm.
please? They found squamous cell carcinoma last week on his foot.
Mhm.
Oh dear.
Yeah, pretty easy to treat if it's caught early. It's one of those slow growing cancers. You have
Yeah,
basal cell
yeah.
carcinoma, and then a little bit more serious is the squamous cell carcinoma. It's not a melanoma, it's a squamous cell carcinoma.
Hmm.
Squamous, it has an interesting name because it is similar to the skin of a snake. It's
Hmm.
scaly. The skin
Yeah.
starts to become scale-like, and that is usually an indication that you have a squamous cell carcinoma, and they usually will, treat it with, localized radiation, and, unless it's been there for a very long time,
Hmm.
it's probably, going to be easily treated.
Hmm.
So,
Uh,
scary, but not really.
Whimsy, because it is slow moving, if it
Mhm.
has been there for quite a while, do you feel that's even an indication that it will be fine for a while to come? Though it does need to be treated.
It needs to be treated, but, it's not the most dangerous,
Yeah.
and, he'll probably be fine. He's probably gonna be okay. Mhm.
Okay. From Donna Luna, 6139. I also had to go to the emergency on Saturday for upper respiratory infection. I have COPD and I'm asthmatic. What herbs could I take? Thank you. Love you guys. Well, we love you right back. Well, Whimsy, I'm going to give this one to you because you are the master herbalist. This is your
Well, you know this stuff, but
I
you're gonna
do.
be humble. I love the, Greek sage because Greek
Hmm.
sage is very drying, particularly if you're dealing with infections. That's what I'm dealing with, the residual, so I am
Hmm.
doing the Greek sage. And, mullein is considered by far the
Hmm.
king of herbs for, having problems in the lungs. It's the mullein
Oh, I remember
herb.
that. We used to give that to
Mhm.
people with lung issues. Yeah.
Yeah. So, see, you knew this stuff. You've been in this business a long time,
I know, but I know this is your passion. This is what you love to talk
yeah,
about.
and eucalyptus, taking, a
Hmm.
little bit of eucalyptus and putting that in the tea. So if this were my patient, I might give them a combination. If I had to make an herbal tea, I would give them sage, mullein, and elderberry,
Hmm.
as, the base of the tea. So sage, mullein,
Yeah.
and elderberry are the herbs that I go to, and I might throw in, a eucalyptus leaf as well. Mhm.
Hmm.
Or bay leaf sometimes, or peppermint.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thyme and oregano as well, but people don't like oregano in tea, so instead they will do capsules,
Hmm.
and that's because it contains carvacol, which helps with immune support. Please go ahead, Chuck.
I'm just thinking this is almost aromatherapy here. Everything you described, I can just smell in the steam from the tea. Sounds so
Mhm.
delightful.
Yeah, all these are great. Mullein, lobelia is used for asthma, and marshmallow.
Hmm.
Joseph Winnie did a very good job. You get extra, points for that.
Hmm.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Let's see what else we've got going on here. These are some good questions, aren't
Yeah.
they?
You sure are.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go through everything.
Mhm.
This person says, "My dad is in hospice with issues all stemming from blood pressure issues and medications that impact it." Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
this goes back to this idea, and I'm sure that Chuck has a lot to say about this, which is
Yeah.
where that until if we don't address the cause of why the blood pressure went up in the first place, and if we just give them medications
Throw medicine at it, you know?
like hydrochlorothiazide, which can be
Yeah.
damaging to the kidneys, then we have not removed the cause of the problem. We've simply suppressed the problem with a drug, and they continue their bad habits. Then this is the situation
Yeah.
we find
Well,
ourselves.
I was just gonna say that's basically what happened to my late mother, and I don't know what the medications were that she was on. This was, like, more than 25 years ago, and I was 3,000 miles away, but she was put on about 6 different medications for her blood pressure, and she was not modifying her diet or her exercise, and it just seemed that my mother started to her health declined so rapidly once she was on those medications, and also it fogged her mind. It was starting to make her appear like she was senile when she wasn't. It was just she was over medicated.
Yeah. And that's a whole other thing, which is a word that I love. It's called uptunded.
That's quite a word.
Uptunded. Y'all can say that word with me. Uptunded. And
Uptunded.
uptunded is when a person seems like they're kind of out of it, like, what?
Yeah, that was my
What'd you
mother.
say? Huh? And often the senior is uptunded because of over medication. We give them so many different drugs that they become uptunded, and then they get diagnosed with a disability or
Hmm.
a condition like dementia
Yeah,
when they simply are taking too many medications.
yeah. It's like it creates another condition. It never
Absolutely.
needed to be there. Rock and pony lady, no rice either.
I like the brown rice.
I do too. Brown
I
rice.
did keep some of my white rice. White rice does have medicinal properties. If your
Yeah.
stomach is sensitive, if you've done too much FODMAPs and too much fiber, then a white rice can be settling to the stomach. If you want to improve the glycemic index of the white rice, you can mix. You can take some quinoa, soak the quinoa in water, rinse it, and then have a combination of white rice and quinoa. But many macrobiotic and healthcare providers feel that a little bit of white rice is completely okay.
Mm.
White potatoes have a high glycemic index. If they are baked, then baked will actually lower the glycemic index. And that's because, it's interesting. Different things. You actually are breaking down the starch, making it easier to
Mhm.
digest. The sugars are more available. If you absolutely love white potato, then I would want to stuff it with something that would lower the glycemic index, like
Good idea.
you can do Irish potato. We went to a restaurant when we were in Cardiff, which
Mhm.
specialized in Irish potatoes,
Mhm.
or a stuffed Irishman. And I was this close to ordering a stuffed Irishman. And a stuffed Irishman is where they
Yeah.
break open the jack. Roasting it is going to be better than anything. It's going to break down those starches, make it easier to digest, and then you can put some baked beans in it, which are loaded
Mm.
loaded with sugar, and then cheese on the top, and then they'll put it in the oven sometimes. That's a stuffed Irishman. And I was watching that guy just wolfing down a stuffed Irishman when you and I were having tea. We took a ferry, and this place specialized in stuffed Irishmen. And I was like this close to getting stuffed Irishman, and then I remembered that he and I had plans to go to the Georgian restaurant. So we
Yes.
did that instead. But we got to go back there and try that stuffed
Oh my God,
Irishman.
yes, yes. Hey,
Yeah. So once
I'd
in a
get on a
blue
plane
moon,
today.
I like the baked. It's considered the healthiest way to have a potato, because
Uh-huh.
if you do it in other ways, it's too much oil and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. But I love me a baked potato from time to time. If you do
Mhm.
want to lower the glycemic index, a little organic butter, and hummus is a good way of lowering the glycemic
Oh,
index,
love hummus.
or pairing it with some lean chicken. You don't have to give it up entirely, but it's just you want to move away from the white stuff, but you want to also be in your joy. You don't want to give up all of your joy. I mean,
No.
I learn to love the food you make and enjoy the food you make. Today, I boiled some beets and I put a little vinegar on them. They're naturally sweet, and a little bit
Oh,
of olive oil.
that's
And
delicious.
so I'm
I
going to
love
have
beets.
so I'm going to have some beets today. And I've been really craving a chopped salad with chopped cabbage, chopped
Oh,
cucumbers, and tahini.
I had a nice salad late last night.
Yeah.
We talk about we're not supposed to eat before we go to bed, but I was craving just that, a nice fresh vegetable salad, and I had that.
Mhm.
It's kind of a late night snack.
Yeah. All right. So Lady Luck has a question, Chuck.
Well, will my toxic neighbors move this year? Whoa. Let's see.
You could always do the mirroring spell, right, Chuck?
Oh, yes. We encountered that in Rome. Remember, we were on the sidewalk and we saw some plants and we saw some mirrors up, and you pointed out that that's what they were likely
Yeah,
doing.
somebody had. Well, Cardiff, there's witches everywhere. There's witches all over Cardiff. It's considered a witch-friendly zone. I don't know if you know that about. We do not kill our witches. So Chuck was like, "Oh no, Dr. Whimsy, you forgot your tarot cards. What are you going to do? Pray tell." I'm like, "It's Cardiff." Every single door we walked in, do you need tarot cards? Oh, that's right. It's Cardiff. Everybody's a witch. So I got these cards when I was in Cardiff. But yeah, everybody has tarot cards in Cardiff. It's a witch friendly zone. But yeah, we went outside someone's house. They were building a ferry. They were building a ferry area. And boy, magic was everywhere. Don't you agree? I mean, that was a really magical part of the world.
Much so. And, that's easy to sound cliche to say, oh, there was magic everywhere. But literally, that's what it felt like. There was magic everywhere. I kept feeling like I was in a fairy tale, the way the trees looked, the wildflowers, just the countryside, the castle. It felt literally like stepping into a storybook. And you could feel that whimsical energy, magical energy.
Mm-hmm.
You could sense little fairies and little beings around you. And I thought it was amusing when you said to me that if they don't, that's who I was thinking of, is I was hoping you had a picture of her, but you said to me, if they don't like you, they will let you know very quickly if you're not welcome there, or even if they have a beef with your ancestors who may have been there centuries before. But they were very, very hospitable to us. And that lady was delightful. I remember that Sunday when we found her.
Yeah, so she was a fairy maiden. What she was doing was she was creating a safe haven for the fairies. This is something that we've talked about, where there are people in this world that still acknowledge fairies and they believe in the fairies. And so what she was doing is she got permission from her neighborhood to not only create a fairy kingdom where they could come and live, but she was also beginning, you can see the stones going up. She was expanding the fairy kingdom to the neighbors' houses because they said, yes, when will you be? And you can see the stones that she laid. And this is the house she built for them. And this is a fairy kingdom. And she also had some mirrors. I don't know if we can see them, but she also placed a couple of mirrors. And she did this. And she also has certain herbs that you can see there's some mirrors up against the wall, along with some of there's a little tiny mirror over there.
I love the little shells.
Over on this thing here is a little mirror, but it was just a place that she had created so that the fairies could have a place to live, and to let them know that she put the hearts up to let them, and she has a little kingdom for them.
A delight. That they were literally stumbled upon her. We were out walking through the neighborhood exploring, and there she was. And she was so gracious to talk to us. And she also gave you a little piece of pottery, didn't she? What was it she handed to you?
She gave me a hedgehog, which I still have. And so she was attracting, her intention was to attract the fairy realm, and she very much was bringing in the fairy realm. And so there are things you can do to simply send them on their journey, and bring in elementals that are going to protect you. I do feel if you want to move, there's an economic benefit to you moving. If you like your home, you could also sell your home and make a good profit, because they're showing that you could make a good profit here. And I don't know what that's about, if it's good profit from selling your home or good profit are coming to you over this issue. Maybe it's time to sell. I don't know if you own a home.
Now, you feel like maybe it's better for her to move rather than the neighbors, based on what you're saying?
She was offered money. And I don't know if that's because she's going to go buy a place or if she's going to sell a place. But I see work over her and money over her, which is kind of exciting.
I like what you got, because I was just addressing it from the point of her toxic neighbors and will they move, and I was just it just felt awful. And I could just feel like she's exhausted from them, discontent. And, this competition card, the tug of war, which often can mean strife between people. That's what was coming up very strongly for me. And then when I asked my pendulum, are they going to move? I got no. It's just like, it's like this heavy, heavy energy that's just stuck there. So maybe it is better for her to be the one to move. Maybe that this is propelling her to take that direction.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that it's a gift, and and now it could be the gift that she's going to make a pretty penny going somewhere else, because they're basically saying here in the remote that she has an opportunity to do well financially.
Yeah.
And it could be that it's time for her to move on.
Yeah, it could be the crappy neighbors are an impetus, a catalyst to get her to take action. Because I was just getting, they're not going anywhere. But she can certainly choose to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Warrior Queen's Magic. What herbs for fibroids all over? Big ones and perimenopause too. Best herbs. Although I have a mixture of Vitex, oat tops, red
raspberry,
lemon, verbena, rose.
So fibroids, there's a genetic component. It can also be that the fibroids are growing because of elevated estrogen. So we think about, so about xenoestrogens in plastic. So we want to remove anything that could be mimicking plastic that's causing them to grow. So no cooking in plastic, and eliminating plastic, toxins and chemicals which have any kind of plastic in them. And of course, we also think about blood sugar regulation and weight loss, because fat produces estrogen. So if you have estrogen dominance, weight loss and blood sugar regulation can also be helpful.
Yeah. No, what you said about the plastics is so interesting, because they have found in studies that men have lower testosterone, lower sperm count when they're exposed to a lot of plastics.
Yeah, exactly. So plastic is a really big problem. Weight loss, of course, is also helpful because, as we mentioned, estrogen is produced by fat cells. And in terms of herbs, we think about, we move towards dong quai is one of the herbs that we've looked at, also known as angelica. And it's one of the most important. Rehmannia. We think about those herbs that are supportive of women, red raspberry as well, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I would also be moving towards trying to get your estrogen levels down with healthy diet, eliminating plastic, and blood sugar regulation, and getting your weight down. Yeah, those things can also be helpful.
Mary's daughter. Wondering about my financial future. Aren't we all? See, could you weigh in? Oh, and then so glad you're back. We've missed you. Well, thank you for saying that.
Let's do a couple more. If anyone has any questions, we're going to do a couple more before we close today. I'm having fun. I'm so glad we switched things up.
I love doing this.
Yeah. All right. The financial future of Mary's daughter. One card. They say don't make your world so small, that your financial future is up to you. Think outside the box. Think about new things that you could be doing to help your financial future. The Fool comes to you. Get out and try new things. Reach out and touch someone. No, a Fool card is like expand your world and try new things. And if you do that, you could be doing very well. The Sun comes to you as well as the Fool. Well, you will figure it out, Mary, and they want you to start expanding and trying new things and being a little bit less fearful and more driven to try new things.
This is where I love when you and I are in sync, because I got community cards. She needs to get, as you said, she needs to get out in the world, get out amongst people, just get into activities, be part of your community. That's going to go very far. And I also got, she needs to explore what gives her pleasure, what gives her joy, what stokes her imagination, because that's often where we do our best channeling, we get our best inspiration. And I also love this card, celebration. And Whimsy, didn't you have the sun card? The sun card? I can't
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, something like that. Celebration, like, yeah, this looks really positive for you. Really positive. But I love that I got that community card when you said that about she needs to get out into the world. That was basically saying the same thing. Warrior Queen's Magic. Well, I get to move to Canada. Well,
right now I'm
sorry,
feeling yeah, no, you did great. Right now I'm getting a lot of conflict with you and Canada. The grass is not always greener. They have a huge housing crisis, and Canada is really expensive, but they're saying that, Canada is nice to visit, but you might not want to live there. Instead, look towards maybe living on the border with the United States, where there's plenty of affordable housing, and then you can always just drive by and spend a weekend in Canada.
Yeah.
But for example, Bellingham, Washington is only about 20-30 minutes from the border, and it's not a particularly expensive city. So you can be right there at the border, and you can spend long, wonderful days in Canada by simply driving over the border and saying, I want to spend a couple days in Canada. People do it all the time. And that's the great thing about living in Bellingham, is because it's right there at the border. And there are plenty of border towns that are dirt cheap, and then you don't have to deal with Canada prices, and you can go and backpack or camp out in Canada and then come home. But they're saying it's a conflict for you. So instead, I would just live at the border.
Yeah. When you said conflict, I was getting decisions, lots of heavy decisions right now, lots to be pondered over. But I also got the risk card. That's not to say it's a bad thing if you went to Canada, but I think, Whimsy, you outlined a lot of the reasons why it might be not the best thing to do, or it's something. Usually, when I get a card that warns of a risk, you want to be very careful when you proceed forward. It's kind of like me saying, oh, I want to move to Italy. Well, I have enough sense to know that I would need to travel there several times. I would need to learn the language. I'd have to do my research. It's not something you just do.
But it's a lot more affordable than you realize. For example, small towns, they've abandoned small towns in Italy, and you could get a really decent studio for $400 a month.
Oh, right. Yeah,
and save your money, and then put down a couple thousand. You could buy a fixer-upper for a couple thousand, and you can get a residency if you're willing to invest in, put a couple thousand euro down. So it's possible. And
it's possible.
You'd have to get up really early to do your Zoom calls to go into session. But if you wanted to make it happen, absolutely it's possible.
But I guess the point I was trying to make was, it's not something you just do impetuously, on the spot. You take your time, you research it, you're very
it's
sure
not that
about
expensive.
What you're doing.
It's not that expensive.
Yeah, no, I realize that, but nonetheless, it's like what we were advising about Canada. She needs to really take her time to be sure this is the right thing she's doing, and maybe proceed a little more conservatively and cautiously. I guess that's what I was trying to say about Italy.
So, like, for example, for Chuck, if they have a lot of abandoned homes in parts of Sicily, north and central Italy, and there are visas you can get if you're willing to buy something. And if you're hiring locals, it's not that expensive, but you could rent a place. And he would actually see a drop. He'd be paying a third of what he's paying right now, because he loves living in LA. So he would actually be in a better financial situation living in Italy. The other thing is if he was a part-time senior student studying Italian, that would be a one-year visa just as a student taking Italian for a couple of hours a day. So in many ways, he'd be better off financially in Italy, and he would probably be paying less in healthcare. So this is what we want people to do, is we want people to dream big and understand that these things with planning or not, he can go live in Italy. He can enroll in an art course and Italian for very little money as a senior, and that's going to give him a 1-year or a 3-year visa, and then he can put down a couple €1,000 to buy a fixer-up apartment, and he can make this happen. But he's got a cat that's becoming a senior, and those are things that it's it's not. Actually, it'd be better for him financially, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a lot to ponder, but I only brought that up because it reminded me of that.
You'd be saving on rent, particularly if you buy one of those abandoned rooms. Those
be a
little
lot
apartments that are getting abandoned. But it's, you're getting your cat over there. It's all of that.
I know it's a lot to ponder. That's why I was saying it's not something you just jump into impetuously.
Yeah. But the fastest way for seniors is, number one, is to invest in property, and number two, to take senior Italian courses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you only have to go for a couple hours a day, and then they're desperate to get people into small towns. And, you're taking Italian for a couple hours a day, and you're paying, $400 a month for an apartment, or even less if it's a room in somebody's home. And so you'd still be working for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it would actually be cheaper. I mean, that's what I don't think people realize, just how expensive the United States is compared to other countries.
Yeah, it had me thinking when I was over there. There was a very strong reason I was so compelled to go to Italy. I felt such a kinship with the land, with the people, with the culture. Something tells me I'm going to spend my final years there.
It's very possible. Even if you go in Rome, I was checking, I found a place for €750 on the outskirts of Rome by the airport. It's half the price of what you're paying right now.
Wow.
And if you get a roommate situation going with other expats, it would be even cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So dream big. You don't have to stay here in the United States if you're willing to do the work.
That's actually the message that we want to talk about on this show in the future. Tell people you can dream big. Nothing is impossible. You can imagine it. You can see it. You can manifest it. You really can. And I've seen this in my life.
Does that mean you're coming with me to Georgia in October?
Well,
it's great fish.
I'll have to take it up with Sasha, see how she feels
that's
about
right.
it. How long are you talking about?
Just 2 weeks.
Well,
I'll pay for your it's going to be a lot cheaper than the last trip we took. Think about it.
Okay.
To Beasley, and also we'll be going to the beach. But it's like half the price of the rest of Europe, and it's just really great food. If you liked, I was grooming him a little bit by taking him to that Georgian restaurant. I was feeding him. You see, you want to come?
Yeah.
You want to come with me to Georgia?
Yeah. Well, us cancer men, that's the best way to get to our heart is through our stomach.
Yes, but he's a homebody.
We love to be fed.
I fed him good. All right.
Okay, from Gargator. That's right. Gargator 1169. When will we move out of our toxic house and life? And will we buy a car this year? I know with tarot you can tell time frames better than I can.
Well, I definitely think they're leaving. And also you don't have to stay in the United States if you don't want to, but you're being pulled east. They're telling you to go east of where you're at. You have the Three of Wands. So Spirit is being very direct with you. Gargator, you're being told to go east. And in the next couple of months, your first priority is not your car. Your first priority is to get out of that house.
Yeah, if I may interject quickly.
And go east, possibly outside the U.S.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but this is about survival. Like that is a very toxic environment. That does need to be their first priority. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but that was the one card I got.
Yeah, well, that's what they're saying. They're saying that she needs to go east, and her first priority is to get out of the toxic house. And then the second thing would be to get a car. Yeah. Until then, Uber it or take the bus. But first priority is to get out of that house.
Exactly. In fact, it may not make sense to buy a car while they're still in that house. Wait until they start a new life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gigi Pardo Lord. Hello, my friend. Sorry I came late. A financial reading, please. Well,
I think you're doing great, and I see finances picking up this summer for you. Great things coming for you in the summer. I'm seeing money coming in over the summer. It's going to be a break. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, because I've spoken with Gigi, I feel I agree with you, Whimsy. I get as long as Gigi stays in her pleasure, doing what she loves, And she's in her imagination and her invention. She can't go wrong. And I think the abundance is just going to follow naturally from that.
Mhm.
Yeah. From Donna Luna, 6139. Whimsy and Chuck, my question is about my brother who is living with my mom. But my mom is going to give me and my son the house. Is he going to be difficult? What should I do besides praying? Well,
There is conflict and fighting in your family over this issue. So, this is when you want to practice Buddhism, the gentle path. You know that it's going to lead to conflict, so you may just sell the house and go and get something else. Because if you don't sell the house and divide the money, then there's going to be some problems,
yeah,
or you're going to have to figure out another way with your son, because I see conflict. um,
yeah,
or with your brother, I see conflict. And so you may have to, in order to avoid the conflict, walk away, sell the house, give him a partial payment, tell him take this or be done with it. And, maybe take the money and
yeah,
move to a part of the world that's cheaper, because they're telling you may have to give up the house, sell it, because I see a lot of fighting. And ask yourself, is it worth it? Because I don't
yeah,
think it's worth it. I think it would be better to sell the house, write him a check, and leave and go where the grass is greener. Also, now you have money that you could invest in all kinds of things. You could move to Mexico. You can invest in property
mhm,
in Chile or Ecuador, or do what Chuck is thinking about. A fixer-upper in Italy is something Chuck has been seriously contemplating. It's a lot cheaper, and you'd probably be a lot happier. So
okay.
right now, Spirit is advising you to sell the house, give them a cut, and just move on.
Yeah, I had similar things. I was getting with the brother, there's underlying shame, guilt, or something. I don't know specifically, but definitely not a good energy, a lot of unhappiness. But I got on your part, Donna Luna, discontent. You're just exhausted from all of this. It's too much. And I think Whimsy advised you well, because I finally I wanted some kind of conclusion here. I got the leadership card. I take from leadership card, that means you're taking the action. You're just deciding what is the best solution here. Whimsy outlined that very well, but that's about you taking charge, taking leadership in this situation. I don't see where there's much choice otherwise, because I think it's just wearing you down right now. And I just get this really bad energy, like it's just a lot of unhappiness there right now, doing
Yeah.
nobody any good.
And make your world bigger. Like Georgia is great. Albania, Kay traveled to Rome, moved to Albania. I think she pays $200 a month for a 1 or 2 bedroom.
Remember you telling me that.
A dirt cheap. You have to realize many parts of Italy, these beautiful, small, romantic towns, are desperate to get people in. They love having seniors in.
Yeah.
Your cat would probably be happier.
Mm.
And they have bidding wars. I've seen some of those apartments, those stone walkways. They're absolutely beautiful. One guy bought one for, I think it was, he bid. Nobody's there. He got it for €1,000,
That's incredible.
approximately $1,300.
Yeah.
And he got a comfortable bed, and he just worked on it a little bit every day. I think he hired some local people to help him, and he got when it was all said and done, for very little money, he had a beautiful life in Italy.
Mm.
He got permission to stay, starting off as a student, investing. Like I said, senior classes are the way to go. Health insurance is half the price, or even less. And you have options. First off, take our advice. Like the purpose of this channel and the purpose of Chuck and I being here is why we're moving away from politics, is because our function in the world is to help you to become happy. We are here to empower
Bottom
you.
line.
That is why we were put on the earth. And
Yeah.
that is why this channel has changed.
It's
We
a
are here.
divine right to be happy.
And
It's our birthright.
Right. And Chuck and I have traveled all over the world. We've spent big money and little money, and we can tell you in many ways it's cheaper to be there than here.
Yes. Yes. I was going to say also, because I was getting such strong discontent in my reading, and that's obvious from the situation. Sometimes discontent can be a blessing because it's like a spur in our side that's necessary to propel us to take action, to say, I can't live like this anymore. I have to take action. I have to do something. And
Yeah.
it's like what we said earlier about how our bodies, our spirits speak to us in whispers, and then it gets louder and louder and louder until we finally do take action.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes we have to be uncomfortable, but it serves that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And from Ironham, how is that pronounced, Whimsy? I want to say that her name right.
Ironham.
I hope we said your name right. But anyway, a super sticker for $2. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Yeah, there are apps on the phone that do translation,
Yes, there are.
but there are opportunities to enroll in local language schools.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of ways
It's
to
fun to
do
learn
it.
languages.
Portugal is dirt cheap, and it's fairly easy to get a golden visa. Georgia right now is dirt cheap. That's where Chuck and I will be in October if he can get a cat sitter. Albania is about a fourth the price of the United States if you want to go live in Albania. Mexico is still fantastic. Rosarita, California, which is right at the border with San Diego.
It's beautiful.
You can get a great studio for under $600 a month.
And you can just find miles and miles of unspoiled beach.
Yeah, enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Take first and foremost, heal your physical body. That is what today was about. We always start with the physical body because the physical body, if it's sick, you're going to be in anxiety. You're going to be depressed because your physical body is not doing well. So the first thing we always start with when we try to help people is we start with the physical body. And that's why today Chuck and I talked about the 3 things that you can do right now that are going to improve your health and improve your overall well-being. We understand that America is in crisis. We see the statistics. We understand that we're frightened about who is in the White House right now. All of that is very true. But here is how you help make the world a better place. You start with taking care of yourself, because when we start putting our money towards the things that are going to uplift and take care of us, the people in power begin to see that shift, and then they adapt to meet the needs of the consumer.
Mm-hmm. We transcend. Plus, all these channel readings I've been getting where that message comes through over and over, how it starts with us individually. Like a drop of ocean water has all the components of the entire ocean. We individually are so powerful, and collectively we're invincible. And that's how we're going to survive this. This is how we're going to transcend what's taking place right now.
Your internal revolution, your human revolution is helping the United States. It is helping the country that you're living in, because we don't need more sick, stressed out people. You know who you're voting for, right? If you're a registered Democrat, we're not saying don't read the news, and we're not saying don't be engaged in the news. Quite the opposite. We want you to pick one thing to master, but before all else, you must first heal your own life, starting with your own physical body. You cannot afford to fall apart right now. You have a moral responsibility to take care of yourself. And if you can't do that, then you're like a ambulance with 3 broken wheels. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You're not going
anywhere.
You
said that. It is a moral responsibility for each and every one of us. It's beautiful. Oh, Heidi, thank you. $5 for money towards Georgia.
Yeah,
that's so very
that
sweet.
won't be until our trip won't be until the fall, but we look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're very grateful. I'm
I'm Hurst.
I'm Hurst. Thank you. Should I replace my 21-year-old car? Financial reading, please. I think, first of all, anybody who's driving a car that old, it's a safety risk. I mean, I don't know where you drive, how you drive, but I know certainly like getting out on a highway would not be a good idea. Not unless you're taking very good care of that car and regularly making repairs. But a financial reading,
Depends also on how much you travel. I mean,
yeah,
if you're only traveling once in a blue moon, it might be better to have delivery and to take Uber and just not to have a car at all. It depends on your situation. If you can take buses and Uber, I don't go many places, and so it's cheaper for me to. I live in Portland, where we have excellent public transportation, so I take public transportation. And when I don't want to do that, I will treat myself to an Uber, and I'm spending, only about $50 a month on transportation.
yeah, which is likely cheaper than having a car.
It's a burden. It's a burden, a car right now. And so, think about whether or not you want to have a car at all. I do think if you continue to use that car, you're going to continue to have problems. So the car has to be replaced. In terms, the car is going to break down also. So either you get rid of the car and get a new one. Don't lease, or you just if you don't have to, if you need the car, you're going to have to replace the car.
Yeah. What I are you still reading, Whimsy? I didn't want to.
I'm done.
I got because we're trying to stick to one car here. I got compromise, but underneath that, I also got deprivation. That was under the card. Compromise meaning there's no real solution that's going to be perfect. As you said, he may have to get rid of the car, maybe look at things like Uber, public transportation, or it may mean putting more money into the car, fixing it, or getting another car. But I don't see it as, I see it as a compromise. So you're going to have to give up something. It's not going to be perfect. And I'm just getting like, maybe the car is a burden. I think you said it quite well. Maybe that would be its best solution, part of that compromise.
Yeah, I don't have a car. I mean, I know when do I go out? I have my stuff gets delivered. I delivered from Whole Foods, and I thought it was going to be a fortune. I'm like, oh, but I got to take care of my health. I got to take care of my health. And I had some stuff I wanted fresh vegetables and stuff. My bill was $69.
Really?
Yeah, that was my bill for the week groceries. I think that's pretty gosh darn good.
It is pretty good.
I got fresh sliced watermelon. I got 4 avocados. I got collard greens and lettuce and sweet potatoes, and yams, and a couple of other things. And I think I did pretty damn good.
Yes, you did. You did. And look at all the time you saved. Time you would have spent.
I had quinoa.
Going to the grocery
I have some frozen fish. And so I'm thinking like eat to live is actually cheaper than the crap that I was buying before.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a delivery from Whole Foods. I'm like, boy, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. Gosh darn it. I think I can do
Gosh darn it.
All right. Linda Kingsley writes, I was told by Spirit to stay put and write out the year. Well, that's what I've been told as well. That my body needs to stop running, Whimsy. Don't always have to escape. I got to escape. I got to escape. Your world is beautiful. That's from childhood. You used to have to escape when you were a child because things were bad. But look at how beautiful. I got all you friends here for me. I got my best friend Chuck here. I was like, what the hell? I don't have to run. My life is pretty gosh darn great right here where I'm at. So sometimes it's just something we learn from. We weren't happy in childhood. My mother's favorite song, Hey Mr. Tambourine Man, right? I was listening to that song today.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, God, I feel so bad for my mother. She was always wanting to just escape into play a song for me and take me away from my horrible life. And I was thinking, wow, I just thought about my mother and her generation and how hard it was for women in her generation. And
that was true for my mother.
The abuse and not having birth control and and not being allowed into the universities. And I'm thinking, wow, I'm really sorry, Mom. You really had it really rough. I was able to go and get a PhD, and now I'm working on a second PhD, and I'm living the life my mother wished she could have lived. I'm off to Paris. I'm off, I just got back from Rome, and it made me have so much compassion for her when I was listening to Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, this poor girl who was a foster kid who was picked on, that was abused by men, and she just wanted to go away to a magical world, and she was listening to this song and that she could go away, and I have inherited that karma from her, right? We talk about generational karma, that I've got to get away, and now my body is telling me, stop this, Whimsy. You don't have to get away. You live on a whole food, plant-based diet in one of the greatest cities ever created, beautiful Portland, Oregon, not too far from the beautiful Willamette River. You've got an amazing damn life. You've got amazing clients. You've got an amazing job on YouTube. What the hell are you running? It's like, oh yeah. My life is fucking incredible. I don't have to run away. I have to just sit and enjoy the great fucking life, pardon my French, that I've created for myself.
That's French.
I don't have to go anywhere. And every time I travel, as much as I loved Rome, oh my God, you should see we went to
I missed it terribly.
We can't wait to show you St. Mary's Church. We got to see Jesus's cradle. I mean, like, could you not believe?
Wasn't that extraordinary? Well, and also that they were doing those ceremonies for Mother Mary for the month of May.
Yes, for the month of May.
For the entire month of May.
All of the artisans in Bethlehem and all the people had donated little bits of gold, and it was melted down, and different artists came and said, well, I have a goblet. Well, I have a little tiny rose. I have a little tiny something, and I want to give it to him. They gave it to Mary, and then they welded all of the gifts to Jesus. This just fucking blew my mind. Pardon my French. But all of the little gifts that everybody gave him was welded onto it, and it was in the Church of Nativity, which is the site where he was born. They built a church where he was born, and Rome got a hold of it, which is very controversial that they got a hold of this thing, which was being protected, and they brought it back. But a lot of people are glad they did, because a lot of that stuff got ransacked and stolen. In agreement,
it's probably in the safest place it could possibly be.
Yeah, I think that those of us that are upset about things getting ransacked, I think and it was in glass and it was protected, and you could see
well protected.
But it was a very bizarre feeling to see the artifacts from the three wise men had freaking survived, and it's pretty crazy. Yeah,
it was very accessible. That's what I loved about it. Very easy to get to.
But it was also feeling like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was we were both like, whoa, when we saw that. And it was it was in a cave, and there was a huge line to see it. And then I went through the line twice. I'm like, I grabbed Francis and I grabbed you. I'm like, you got to go down there and take a look at this.
But the line moved quickly. It wasn't that long. It was
thousands and thousands of people trying to see, and also they had a nun of perpetual prayer. Can you talk a little bit about that? The nun of perpetual prayer.
The nun of perpetual prayer. They take 2-hour shifts around the clock with a whole prayer list. People submit. Didn't we see where you could write your prayer on a card and it would be given to the nuns? No, they took a high-tech version of it. We saw the nuns with iPhones.
Oh, she had the iPhone. And I asked, is she reading her iPhone? And someone said, no, she's reading the prayer. So she put everything on her iPhone. And so she was all in white. I guess the nuns of St. Mary's are all in white. And she would just say the rosary, and then so I thought, is she talking on her cell phone? And they're like, no, she's praying. It's the list. I'm like, oh, I thought she was taking a break, and talking to her friends, because that's what I would be doing.
Facebook,
and then I came behind her and I saw that she was
checking out Instagram.
That she had a list Thomas needs to heal his whatever, and so she would go, and then she would be like, Hail Mary, full of grace, and then she would go to the next one, and I wanted to take a picture of her so bad because the energy over the nun of perpetual prayer. Did you feel
Yes.
like there was like a light going
There
over
was,
her?
but
And
we
then she would
didn't
like
want to
go to
be
her phone, and then
disrespectful.
it's like
Yeah.
21st century, right?
Yeah.
But all of us, Francis, myself, and our friend Francis came with us. We all thought, should we take a picture of but we all felt like
It
a
was so
little bit ashamed,
disrespectful.
like we
Yeah.
no. But yeah, and how long has she been in perpetual prayer? Like
Well,
how
I
long?
was
Some
just going to say to you, doesn't that go back to the 1800s? It's been going continuously
Yeah,
since
something
then.
like
Yeah,
1840
but they
something.
take 2-hour shifts around the clock. I think you said it was about 40 nuns who participate
That's
in this.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're each just
Dang. But
100.
then someone will tap her. They will do this,
Yeah,
and they will tap her, and then she's able to leave and go to the restroom, and then they come, and then they, get the phone, and it's like, how far have you gotten? I got to Joe. Okay,
yeah,
Joe. Okay, and then they continue, and they just keep sending it onto this virtual list. It was
yes,
pretty incredible. The
it
point we're
was.
trying to make is that sometimes as much as that was incredible, like now everybody wants to go to St. Mary's and see the cathedral and see the
I want to go
artwork
back.
was the artwork, and there were former
Yes.
popes buried there, and then you get
Mhm.
that is the
Pope
site for the
Francis is
right.
buried there, or interred
Right.
there, we should say.
That is where, if you want to see the crib, that is where Jesus's crib is. Um,
Yes.
so
Oh,
the line was out the door. I didn't know. I thought we were going to be an hour trying to get into that place,
no, it
but it
moved.
only took 20
It was
minutes.
very
20 minutes.
fast. Yeah, it was very fast, very organized, and
Hmm.
I never felt like I was being put out by lines when I was there. Unlike some other places in Rome, where there were some big lines, like to the Colosseum, for example, but not the church. And something else I found consistent about all of these churches, and especially when I went to the Vatican, all of this grandeur, but yet humility, very heartfelt
But it's
humility,
all
warmth, very
but the
basic. Yeah.
grandeur is not for people, it's for God. It's
Yes.
you.
Oh,
I
yes.
give everything to you. Like the crib. Everybody
Yes.
had a
Yes.
little bit of gold, and everybody, the craftsman that said, well, I wanted to give him
Yeah.
this thing, and
There
they're
was a
like, we can,
beautiful
and
humility,
so yeah,
everything.
they welded it all. He had just a nice crib, and then they put gold around this simple crib, and then they began, as time went by, to add more and more things to the crib, and it was just
Right.
like, so, but the point I'm trying to make is that as beautiful as those experiences were, instead of running away, I'm now beginning to realize that everything I need is right here where I'm at. But it's not the
Right.
same. To see the crib on YouTube and to actually physically go and see it is
Oh,
not the same.
nothing compares to it.
That was my favorite part of the entire
I
trip
know it
in
was.
Rome. I just really got moved by the love. The love
Yes.
of these people. Some of them, that was maybe all they had, was a little tiny bit of gold, and
Yeah.
that really freaking moved
But
me.
I felt love and hospitality, kindness all throughout that city, all throughout Florence and Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people just seemed much more content with themselves there than what I see here, certainly here in Los Angeles. And you've
Mhm.
lived in LA, so you know what I'm talking about.
For me, it was like going to St. Mary's I actually had a mystical experience. I
I
really
felt that
felt the
in you.
grace of God in
Yes.
that place. And I felt how beautiful human beings are when they let themselves love God, you
Yeah,
know, and that nun of perpetual prayer, that just brought tears to my eyes. Like,
I know.
you, what a, you gave your life to this, to just sit and pray for. I just was like, God, how can we come? And Chuck and I had a lot of heart to heart conversations. We need to lift ourselves up, and we need to lift you up. And we
Yes.
came back from Rome dedicated to making this channel better, and to
Mhm.
be, she inspired us, and the people of Rome inspired us. The whole trip. How can we help you be happy?
Yeah. I knew intuitively Rome was going to be a spiritual journey.
It was very
I
much
knew
so
that
for
very
me.
much.
Even though
Yeah.
I was sick, it changed my life. It changed my fucking
Beautiful. Changed
life.
my life too. It will always be part of me now, part of my heart. I've been to Italy before, but I hadn't been in over 30 years. And I certainly had never
All
been
that beauty, all that art, everywhere you look.
everywhere,
The art at St.
everywhere.
Mary's is like nothing
Yeah.
we've ever seen before.
And the things that I just stumbled upon by accident, like I was saying, just you let the city reveal itself to you.
Amen.
It's like the city has a soul. It speaks to your soul. I was lost looking for the Trevi Fountain. I got, because all the little
Oh, I
winding
remember that.
alleyways,
Yeah.
and stumbled upon the Pantheon, just totally by accident. Boom, there it was. So I just surrendered to it. It was beautiful. I think we both surrendered to
It was
this.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
So in answer to your question, they're saying stay where you're at, Four of Pentacles, which is to be here now and transcend time. You know, be deep in the self. You don't have to go anywhere. You're fine where you're at.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
Well, I got, this is also very much, this period right now is about being very much in your purpose and going that direction and really exploring your imagination right now, your creativity, your channeling. That's where genius comes from. That's where many of our answers come from our imagination. So maybe that's why you're also meant to be in place where you are right now. But I think what we said earlier also applies very well. You know,
it's getting so emotional
within us.
That trip to St. Mary's, it just
I know. I saw how moved you were.
Yeah, I was really pretty affected by it.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily about religion as much as it was
no,
it's
about love. It's
spirituality.
About love.
Love, and
love
that's
of
what
God.
we felt throughout the city. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a city with so many churches.
Yeah,
everywhere there's a church.
And yet the people enjoy their lives. They enjoy that. So they enjoy
That's
that
what I
meal.
saw.
They enjoy. We learn to be in joy. And I think that you and I, we had a deep spiritual, I think you and I both got a little enlightened from that experience. Like Chuck, you and I, like that church and the crib and the perpetual prayer for me was that even if I have nothing, it's yours, God.
Yes.
This little piece of gold, it's all that we have. Take it.
Yeah.
You know, we want to be devoted to God. And the fact that nun, I mean, she probably has nothing but her clothes and guaranteed a meal. And she is put on this earth to pray for people.
Yeah.
That just blew my mind.
You know, when you were saying about the gold, the contributions, I was feeling like even a little chunk, a little ring had just as much value and importance as someone who gave a big thing like that or something. Everything had the same importance.
Did you see that somebody gave their wine goblet? Did you see that they put that on? Like, we were looking at all the things that had been placed on the crib because people came and they gave gifts, but these are the gifts that that traces back to that story. These are the actual and a welder just attached it on. So as they came to the crib, each of them gave a little something, but one guy gave a wine goblet. And so they took the wine goblet and they attached a wine goblet. It was just so beyond cool.
Yeah.
All right. Gar Gator, you want to read this one?
Will we ever move from our rental? We're getting a lot of questions like this. Will we ever move from our rental? We are wiped out physically and exhausted mentally. My wife has signs of dementia. Does she, or is it medications, meds? Well, that's a multifaceted question right there.
Well, we always start with the basics. Is there any white stuff in your house? You know, start with a plant-based, mostly plant-based. You can have animal protein, but you want to be making sure that you're on a nutritarian diet. So check out Joel Furman. The first thing is to start with the physical body, which is if you stabilize her blood sugar, she's probably, the best thing you can do for the brain is the stuff that also helps the heart, because what is good for the heart is good for the brain. Oxygen, blood sugar stabilization.
Even bringing down inflammation.
Yeah. So we want to increase our omega-3s, chia, flax, fish meal 2 or 3 times a week. even if it's opening up a can of sardines. You talk about being physically exhausted and mentally exhausted. So the first thing we're going to do to help with that is the things that Chuck and I talked about today, which is clean up your diet. You must get off the sugar. When you are too exhausted to even live and you don't, oh, I don't want to, so look at the bowl of food in front of you.
Yeah. I keep getting the sense of this is about getting back to the basics, because when you are that overwhelmed, it's almost impossible to make a rational decision. You know, it's like you're being pulled in so many different directions. It's too much. So I'm glad you said that about get back to the basics, take care of your health, get back your energy levels. You know, that's going to go a long way before you start making other decisions about should you move right now, what's going on with his wife with possible dementia. You covered some very good things there about what's good for the heart's good for the brain. But yeah,
and what's wrong with renting? I mean, you know how many people I know that desperately want to sell their house and they want to be free of the mortgage and the nightmare of having a house.
Yeah.
Don't be so sure renting is a bad thing. The grass is not always greener. You will take control of your situation. Remember the mantra of the Stoic, I will figure it out. But the first thing you're going to do is you're going to learn about healthy living, and that means get rid of the sugar, get rid of the flour, white flour, and begin to move towards a nutrient dense diet. And that in and of itself is going to have a dramatic impact.
It is.
On our health.
It's going to give a new foundation to launch from, to work from.
You will figure it out.
Because it was interesting, you know, I hadn't even looked at my card yet when I pulled it out, and I just said, I'm sensing this is somebody who's just pulled in too many directions right now. And sure enough, look what the first card was: competition, the tug of war, people pulling in different directions. So I'm glad you elaborated about going back to the basics, because that's where a lot of this, when they mentioned being physically, mentally exhausted, who wouldn't be in a situation like this? I'm just feeling that heaviness. Whimsy, do you think that her medications, should we go into that?
Yeah, I mean, when her blood sugar is stabilized, when she's eating a predominantly plant-based diet, I would start with a green smoothie every day. I do protein and greens by the company Paradise, because Paradise is the most nutrient dense protein powder that I have found that's affordable. So it's 24 servings of fruits and vegetables in one scoop. So I would start your day. The first thing you can do to help yourself is protein and greens by Paradise with some unsweetened almond milk and some berries and ground flax. That'll run you under $2, approximately $2 for, you know, it's a lot cheaper than McDonald's.
I was going to say a cup of Starbucks.
Yeah. So it costs $29 for 15 servings if you do 2 scoops, but I say start with 1 scoop. So that's 30 days. So so it's $1 a day. And then you can put $1 worth of, you know, watermelon slices or organic strawberry. Rinse them well if they're not organic, and some ground flax. Whip it up, and you are getting a nutrient-dense meal. Other things you can begin to do that are affordable. Boiled eggs are a great protein source, just to have a boiled egg. And I often will recommend that for people if they're trying to get a healthy protein in their diet. Also, low-fat cottage cheese, if you are doing animal products, is another way to stabilize. And then the rest of the diet, fish, you try to have a fish meal about 3 times a week. If you do love your dairy, then we recommend the skimmed milk mozzarella, also is a healthy choice. But the rest of your diet should be plant-based. If you're having digestive problems, which seniors often have trouble with raw food, then we recommend soups and slow cooking your meals. And try and remember that the base of your diet is greens, beans, onions, berries, mushrooms, nuts, and seeds. And again, stabilize the blood sugar. Look at foods which are the lower glycemic index.
Mhm.
And if you do all of those things, you're going to feel a lot better physically.
Mhm.
And you can start reducing your medications, particularly if you add to that intermittent fasting. So check out Joel Furman on YouTube, Furhman, Joel Furman, Furhman, Eat to Live. And if you feel you need to bump up your protein more than what he recommends, like I said, fish meals are very helpful. Boiled eggs are low in fat because they're boiled, they're not fried. And low-fat cottage cheese and skimmed mozzarella are great protein options. Grilled chicken once or twice a week. I also like turkey occasionally. I like to have turkey patties. I know Chuck loves his turkey patties.
Mhm. I do. I do. Well, you were telling me that turkey is a better source of protein than chicken.
Well, yeah, turkey has less genetics. It's not as genetically modified as
Yeah, that makes sense.
chicken. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a lot of questions about homes and
I think we're gonna have to
condos.
close pretty soon. You probably have to take off, right, Chuck?
Well, I do have to go soon.
Yeah. All right, so we're only going to do one or
We've
one
been
more.
on. Do you realize we've been on almost 2.5 hours?
Yeah, so we're going to close it. We have one more question. Recently have sold my condo. How long before I get my new home?
Oh, God. A lot of questions around this theme. How long before you get your new home? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I just went straight to the pendulum. I'm getting it's going to be sometime after 4 months. What do you get, Whimsy, with your cards?
They're saying to hold off on buying because they can't guarantee your karmas in the United States.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe she
Okay.
needs to buy a house in
Maybe.
Italy. Maybe she's one of those people that
There you
buys,
go.
under 20,000 euro, you can get you a pretty nice place in Italy.
Yeah.
It could be that your destiny is elsewhere. They're telling you to hold off because the whole world, why don't you go to a part of the world like Portugal or Mexico? I can't guarantee you're staying in the US.
Yeah, that I don't know. What I did, because I thought, how do I determine a time frame? So I did 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. I was getting 4, 5, 6 months. Like from that point, it was looking more open. Maybe that's when an opportunity is going to come to her way, or a realization of some kind. This is interesting. What I got, my top card, new life. You got the world. I got new life. Something that's going to be a few months, 4, 5, 6 months, but you're going to get a revelation. Do you have any more you could add to that, Whimsy?
I just feel like right now she should hold off because they're saying your world is big. Thank you, Gigi Pardo Lord, for that donation.
Thank you, Gigi.
All right, you guys. I'm sorry we couldn't stay longer. I think some of us have to use the restroom, and I gotta eat, man. I'm starving. I haven't had my dinner yet.
I think this is the longest show we've ever done.
Yeah, I told you that we would get lots of questions.
We had fun. We had a lot of fun. That's why it went by quickly.
And of course, Chuck and I are here for you. If you need to make an appointment with Chuck, Chuck, how do they reach you if they need a consult?
Best way to reach me is, you can see my name there, Dransfield Chuck, one word, Dransfield Chuck @gmail.com. I love hearing from you. I love reading for you. I love making art for you.
And giving medical consults.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, I do. I do very much.
And he is licensed. And of course, if you need to see me, Dr. Whimsy Anderson, as a medical intuitive physician, health coach, and also remote viewer, a psychic, you can find all that information at Booksy, Dr. Whimsy Anderson on Booksy. And then we call you, or we go go through the computer, and that's how people
Yeah.
meet with me. All right, we are out of here. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. Be sure and check out Chuck's Captivating Chronicles.
Oh,
on
thank you for
YouTube.
reminding me of
We
that.
forgot to
Yes.
mention that. And we will be back on Thursday for the second half of How to Heal Your Life. We're going
Yeah.
to be talking more about things that you can do that are simple, cheap, and free.
Yeah.
To
And we love your
improve-
input.
and that are going to
Yeah.
improve your physical body. And of course, we're going to be continuing on with your personal questions, answering any personal questions you have. That'll be Thursday at 5 p.m. right here. So, without further ado, be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out, and we'll see you next time. You are the greatest
Thursday. Thank you.
audience in the world, and
The
Chuck
best.
and I are so grateful
It's
to
an honor and a
spend this
privilege.
time with you. It is an honor and a privilege to serve you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very
All
much.
right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.